Okay, so now everybody can hear me. Okay, good. Thank you. I appreciate that. When I was asking if you could hear me, you couldn't hear me ask that question. So I did it in the chat. So thank you so much. Welcome to our online class. I apologize for the technical difficulties. I got a new microphone today and it wasn't working properly yet, but I have that fixed hopefully now. I'm sharing my screen. Can you guys all see the course den page that I'm sharing? Everybody can see that? Okay. The first thing that I wanted to ask you guys to do, since communication is so important in an online class, being able to reach me being able to reach you, is in your course den at the top of the screen where you see your name. I want you to go to your notification settings. And in those notification settings, you have your email and your cell phone number. You don't have to check all these boxes that I do, but this right here where it says announcements, when there's a new announcement available, I do want you to enable either text notifications or email. I think both are really helpful, and I'll tell you why. Because email will give you the full text of the announcement. You don't have to log into CourseDen. So you have it right there on your phone and you'll get all the information right there in your email. And the SMS is your text notification. It's kind of like old school Twitter. Remember where there was only a few characters that people could post? That text message will catch your attention and let you know there's information out there. And then when you go to your email, you'll see the full announcement. I'm not going to spam you by sending emails that are duplicates of the CourseDen announcements. So if you want to make sure you get all that information properly, make sure that you set up your notifications so that you get the text and email notifications. And you can get instant notifications, or you get like a summary once a day. Instant is handy because if there's something that pops up that you can earn extra credit for, or an important reminder of something, like you want to get those in a timely manner. You don't want to get a reminder for an exam a week after you've taken the exam. So it's important to get these things in a timely manner. And checking CourseDen regularly obviously is important, but getting those instant notifications is really useful. So that's notifications. And then I will primarily communicate with you class-wide through these CourseDen announcements. Like yesterday, there was a problem with the MindTap. Cengage had forgotten to remove the paywall since we're doing the day one access to save you money. And it was finally fixed last night. If any of you are still experiencing problems with this, please let me know right away and I'll be on the phone with Cengage. I'm a lawyer. I'm not your lawyer, but I can put on my lawyer hat and advocate for you to Cengage, and make sure they get stuff straightened out for you. The reason that I chose to participate in day one access was to save you some money. So I want to make sure you all have access to this. And in that same train of thought, saving you money, please, 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 I know it's complicated the way I wrote it out, but double check the other classes you're taking to see if anybody else is using Cengage. Because if anybody else is using Cengage, you will save money by doing Cengage Unlimited. Obviously, if you're a part-time student or if you're not taking any other classes with a Cengage textbook, don't spend an extra $20 on unlimited, right? You don't need the unlimited. Save that $20, take yourself out to lunch. Everybody's got a budget, right? You don't want to waste money. You don't need to waste. But if you're taking more than one class, make sure that you opt out in any of those classes that are participating in day one access and purchase Cengage Unlimited directly from Cengage is $124.99. So standalone class through the automatic billing to your student account is $124.99 is the unlimited price, and Cengage Unlimited gives you access to all their products. So all of your Cengage classes, like if you're taking Accounting 1 or Accounting 2, I think some of those use Cengage books, macroeconomics. I posted this announcement last night, but intro to business management, some of those classes use Cengage. So make sure you double check and click the proper links if that's something you want to do, because like I said, I want you to save whatever money you can. School's expensive, and I want you to get the best deal that's out there for you. And then I will post after the Zoom call, I'll post a link for Cengage office hours. They have registration support with live virtual office hours a couple different times during the day. And then there's also a 1-800 number that you can call for tech support anytime, 24 hours a day. On our CourseDen website, I have those links. I'll post it in the announcement, but I also have these linked. I want to show you where to find them. When you click on content, go to the Start Here module. And at the bottom of the Start Here module, I have a link for Cengage technical support website and their 1-800 number. And then the second from the bottom is MindTap system status. If you're ever trying to log in to like read your textbook or work on some homework and the page isn't loading properly or something, it's hard to know if it's their problem or your problem, right? Clicking this link to see the MindTap status will help you make that determination on your own. If you click this link and MindTap has a green check, then that means their end, everything's working well. So maybe it's something with your internet connection or a pop-up blocker. I will tell you that pop-up blockers are usually the number one thing that have people struggle to access MindTap the first time. When you click the link for MindTap, if you have a pop-up blocker enabled, you get the little red X in the corner of your screen and you don't know why the link isn't working. When you go to register for MindTap, you're going to click the link that says click here for MindTap. I tried to make it intuitive. If you come across anything that's not intuitive on CourseDen, please send me an email. I'm happy to get your feedback because I want it to be as easy as possible for you to find the things you need to find. So if you ever come across a link that's not working or something that's hard to find or something that you think could be made better, it won't hurt my feelings, I promise. I'm happy to hear it because I want to make this class as great as I possibly can so you can learn as much as you can. This class, I enjoy the law. I'm a lawyer. I went to law school. And I'm not trying to turn you into lawyers, but I do want to turn you into knowledgeable people. So when you go into the real world, you know how to protect yourself, you know what your rights are, and you understand how to prevent legal liability at work. Because if you're a business owner or a business leader in your future careers, we want to keep those profits in the bank. We want to keep those profits in your pocket. I don't want you having to waste money paying out in legal liability because of mistakes that could have been avoided. So my goal for you in this class is to learn as much as you can to avoid making those mistakes and to learn all these foundation concepts so you know when to call a lawyer, right? If you do need help. But at the end of the day, the goal being save you the money, right? When you click that link, it'll take you into MindTap. And this is what your screen will look like. You're still screen sharing with me, right? In MindTap, it still followed to this page. Okay. I'll skip the tour. When you go in and you'll register, like I said, if you're not going to opt out of our day one access, that link should take you right through to register for MindTap. It shouldn't ask you for any kind of credit card or payment of any type because that payment has already been directly billed. If you decide to opt out, it might take a little while for it to come off of your student bill because all that stuff isn't going to be finalized until ad drop. So it's not a decision you have to make within 5 minutes, but it is a decision you need to make soon because after ad drop, all that stuff will no longer be pending. It'll be a permanent part of your billing statement. When you log into MindTap, make sure that you have your dashboard set to calendar settings. That's the default setting because we don't go in order of the textbook and there are some chapters we skip. The best way to make sure you stay on track is this calendar setting in MindTap. It will show you today's week. So all the weeks are right here. This is week 1, started yesterday, January 9th. All of your weeks and your deadlines for the week are Sunday night at midnight. I know you have busy lives and lots of stuff going on. And so some of you need that flexibility and I'm happy to give you through the end of the weekend for each week to complete that week's assignments. I definitely encourage you not to wait till the last minute because especially for something like homework, you have 2 options to do the activities to get the best score possible. You can take your time. None of them are timed. You can look up what you need to look up in the book, look up your answers, and really try to take the time to learn what you can through the homework. So as long as you're managing your time and giving yourself enough time to read the chapter, to double check your work, there's no reason you should have a bad homework grade, especially with 2 chances, right? So take advantage of that and don't wait till the last second for your homework so that you have the time to make sure that you're getting the best grade possible because your homework average, all of your assignments together, weigh the same in the grade book as your exams and as your project. So think of that as good insurance for any kind of test anxiety or something to ensure you have a really good homework grade to keep your foundation of your overall final average solid. It'll tell you what the current week is. When you click down on that arrow, it'll show you all the activities that are going to happen for that week. On CourseDen, in the Start Here module, here's just a printout page, but you can't really see it very well from the little thumbnail. I'll go over it more in CourseDen, but I encourage all of you to please print that 1-page calendar. It's probably more important to print that than printing the syllabus. The syllabus is like, I don't know, 7 or 8 pages long and has all the policies. Read the syllabus, understand what the expectations are. But don't worry about printing the syllabus. You can download it if you want to as a PDF, but please print or screenshot or both that 1-page calendar. On that calendar, you have all of my contact information. You have a bullet point list of the general policies to remind you that your weekly assignments are due at midnight on Sunday. Think Cinderella, after midnight, anything that's not completed converts to a 0. And it has the important deadlines, like when each exam is going to be and when your project is due. Those are the big things that you want to make sure you keep track of those deadlines. And so take that paper, print it out, tack it on your wall, put it in your binder, wherever you're going to see it regularly, so that you can stay on track of making sure that you know what's happening every single week in this class. Online classes are so great for flexibility and for the efficiency of your learning. But it is really hard to make sure that you stay on track with your schedule if you're not used to taking an online class before. Time management can be tricky. And in addition to that, it's not like the class when you're in there face-to-face and you have those constant reminders of showing up for class. This is coming due. This is down the pipeline. You have to kind of be your own reminders for that stuff. I'll post announcements and things, but it's important that you understand like the overall big picture of what's coming due and when it's due, so that you can make sure not to miss any of those. And nobody wants to get a 0 because they forgot there was an exam that week or something, you know. On MindTap, your assignments for each week are posted by the week. And then on the right-hand side, you guys can see these little icons on the right-hand side. These are study tools. So this helps you keep track of your progress and your grades. The little index cards are great. Those are flashcards. I'll click it and show you what they look like. Each chapter has pre-made flashcards already done for the key terms in that chapter. So this is like right here, it's chapter 5. These are all the key terms. You click it and it gives you definitions. You can go to the next card. You can hide a card if you already know it. You can keep it in the stack. Just help learn those key terms, because you've been in school long enough, you know that a lot of times these key terms make up some of the major concepts in any chapter. And that saves you the trouble of making your own flashcards. In addition to these tools, this book icon is the link to get to the full textbook. When you're reading the textbook, I'll go full screen with the textbook to show you. When you're reading through the textbook, it's organized, you know, with links to different stuff. There's a table of contents in the corner. When you open up a chapter, you can link to different sections of the chapter. So if you're working on something and you're just confused about a particular topic, you can go directly to it from the table of contents. And you can also, when you're in the textbook, you can print a page if you want to. So if there's a really good illustration of something, a graphic, a chart, something you think will really help you study, print that page, add it to your notebook, you know, that you're collecting. You can also highlight and copy and put things in your study hub. You can highlight and take notes in your book. All these are, you know, great benefits from this ebook option that we have here in MindTap. And then there's also this little icon with the voice icon. That is your read speaker. Don't get too excited. It's not like professional actors on an Audible book. It's more like Siri or Alexa talking to you. It's that computer, you know, AI voice. But for some people, reading a textbook is difficult to stay on task. Textbooks aren't written the same way a novel is written to keep your attention. And so I've had some students in the past that actually like the read speaker because it keeps them on track. They just read along with the monotonous computer voice, and it helps them stay attentive and focused. I'm not going to tell you how to read or how to study. You guys know how you learn best. I'll provide you videos you can watch. You can ignore the videos if you want. You can watch them if you want. Read the textbook if you want to read it straight through, if you want to read it in chunks, if you want the computer voice to read it to you. I'll give you the PowerPoints separate from the lectures. So if you don't want to watch the video lecture, but you just want the highlights of the PowerPoints to take notes on, that's a good study technique. You can print the lecture PowerPoints and just take your own notes as you read through the textbook. When it comes to an exam, I'm not going to test you on the details of an illustration in your chapter. So like, for example, right here on this page, it gives you a little box right here where it says case in point. And it gives you an example from Volkswagen. I'm not going to ask you questions about Volkswagen, but I might ask you a question on short-term profit maximization and how that affects ethical decision-making. So what I want you to get out of these chapters when you're reading through these cases is understand those are illustrations of what it's teaching you. So please don't skip over the cases, because learning how it applies in real life is learning how you're going to apply it on an exam. On an exam, I give you hypothetical, you know, scenarios and stuff. And so seeing what it looks like in real life in these cases is going to help you understand how to answer the questions on an exam, even though they're not specifically about those examples. There's only so many examples I can make about something like whatever the topic is. Here, it's short-term profit maximization. So does that make sense what I'm saying? Like, learn the cases and how they apply the law, but don't stress out about memorizing the details of these cases. Instead, I want you to focus on the actual content of the chapters, the concepts that are being taught. Are there any other questions about MindTap before I move back into Course Den? Anybody? Yeah, I don't see anything in the chat box or anybody on the screen. So I will go back to Course Den, back to the Start Here module. I try to, again, make it intuitive as possible for you guys. So we use a module called Start Here. That's where I want you to click first. And about the course, about me, the link to the full syllabus is right here, where it says read this. The print this link is that 1-page course calendar that I have printed out right here. I have it printed out and stuck on my wall too, so I can stay on track as well. If I have to make any changes, I'll let you know. Obviously, I won't just like secretly change it on this document. I will post an announcement, but this is most likely going to be the schedule we follow the whole entire semester. It would be a very rare occurrence that I would actually make a change to this schedule. And if anything, I would make the change to give you like a little more time, not less time, or make it due earlier. Everything on this chart shows you the date that it's due, you know, what chapters you're going to have due in MindTap, the content for that weekly topic, and then the dates that it's due. So you can see that in the very beginning, we'll go in order. Most weeks have just 1 chapter, but some weeks have 2, and the week of the project has 3. So keep that in mind with your schedule. I highly recommend, especially for an online course to give you the most flexibility, to work ahead. Every chapter in all of MindTap is open from day 1. So if you get a week ahead, or a week or two ahead, it's awesome. You don't want to get too far ahead because I don't want you to forget the material before we get to the exam. But working a week ahead in MindTap is great, because if you have something come up in another class, or you go out of town, or you are busy at work, I mean, whatever the reason, it's always great to say to yourself, like, I'm a week ahead in my business law class. I can put this on the back burner for a minute and come back to it. You know, I want to give you that flexibility. That's why I have them all open from day 1, so that I don't have, things timed where they only unlock on Monday and then they lock on Sunday. They're all unlocked from day 1, but it's like a rolling thing where each week's assignment will turn into a 0 at midnight on Sunday night. Does that make sense? Every week you'll have 1 or 2 MindTap chapters. And then the exam will be online on Course Den using the Respondus like Proctor plugin. I'm sure you've used that in other classes before. It's just a little plugin on your browser. And I will make sure your exams are available over a course of like a few days. So that gives you flexibility to take it. Thursday to Sunday is kind of the window I have set up so that you can take your exam. But please pay close attention to the schedule, because these exams will happen the final week of each unit. So that week, the exam will be at the end of the week, but you still have your MindTap chapters for the week. So you don't want to procrastinate and save all that for the end of the weekend, because that would be really overwhelming, and that's probably too much to try to get done all at once. So look closely at the calendar and make sure you recognize, like, especially for this first unit, the week of January 30th through February 5th is a 2-chapter week. The chapters go really well together. They're about alternative dispute resolution, like mediation and, arbitration, negotiation, those kind of things, and court procedures as well in the court system. So they go well together. They're kind of shorter chapters, but it's 2 chapters to pay attention to. You might see chapter 4 in the top half of that calendar view on MindTap, and if you don't scroll all the way down, you'd miss chapter 5. And that's a problem, because chapter 5 will represent roughly 20% of the material for your exam. And those are easy homework grades that you're going to get 0s on, so please make sure, I can't stress that enough, to take close look at the calendar and keep track of those assignments and their due dates. Another good reason to print this and put it somewhere handy, all my contact information is at the bottom. The official communication method for our class is your UWG email. That's the best way to reach me in a message. If you send me a Course Den message, the only notification I have is that tiny little orange dot by the envelope. And I might notice it when I notice it, right? If you send me an email, I'm on my email constantly every day. So I'll get your email. If for some reason your email gets misdirected or buried in my inbox, please resend it. It won't hurt my feelings. It won't offend me. In fact, you'll probably get an apology from me where I'm like, so sorry I missed your message. How can I help you? I will never ignore you on purpose, I promise. So, but sometimes during like right around a certain time, there might be something busy going on, like with your exams. I get a notification every time someone takes an exam. So if you have a question for me during that exam window, your email might have gotten buried under 100 notifications in my inbox. So please, if you don't hear from me within 24 hours, resend it. I also give you my cell phone number. Please don't abuse that. That's my legit cell phone, right? So if you call it or text it, you know, in the middle of the night, I'm going to sleep right through it. I'm a heavy sleeper. I won't get your text message at 2 a.m. But I'd appreciate it if you texted me during like normal hours. I'm fine with evenings. Like you can text me in the evening. That's fine. I'm just saying like 2 a.m. You won't hear from me till tomorrow. But same thing, if you send me a text and somehow I read it on my watch and I forget to respond to you right away, I promise I won't get offended. I'll be embarrassed and sorry that I didn't respond to you right away. Just send me another text or an email or something like that. I want you to be able to reach me when it's convenient for you. Same thing with virtual office visits. I'm here on, like right now I'm in my UWG office. I'm here typically Tuesdays and Thursdays, but I also teach in Noonan. So sometimes I'm in Noonan on a Tuesday or Thursday. Some of you live near campus and you can just swing by and visit in person. Some of you are taking this class from far, far away and it's not convenient at all to come to campus. So I'm happy to meet with you daytime, evening, weekend, whatever, virtually on Zoom or Google Meet, whatever you prefer is fine with me. Just send me an email or a text and we'll set up an appointment for that anytime for any reason. If you want to go over some of this orientation stuff, that's good. Before a test, to practice, to ask questions, to go over a test, any of that stuff is fine. I want you to know that I'm accessible to you and I want to help you succeed. So please, please, please don't hesitate to contact me about anything you need. Let's see what else. Okay, that's basically all the Start Here module. These modules on the left, again, try to make it intuitive and obvious what it's about. Each unit is labeled exam number 1. These are the chapters on exam number 1, exam number 2. Each module has a submodule for each chapter. There's links to PowerPoints, links to MindTap. And then if I have any supplemental learning information or I put an extra credit or something for that chapter, I'll link that in that module as well. But all your actual like regular homework activities, like your daily activities, those will all be completed in MindTap. That's for each of the exams. And then here's the module for your major project. Your project takes the place of an exam. So it covers the material from chapter 16, 17, and 18 in your textbook. That project time period is a week between exam 2 and exam 3. That's the week I've designated for your project. But obviously 3 chapters is a lot to cover in 1 week when you're used to covering 1 or 2. So I highly recommend that if you have any extra time early in the semester before your classes really get busy and get going, to work ahead. And the first thing you would do for this project is to do the MindTap material, read through these chapters, answer the questions, so you get a good learning foundation to build your project and make your decisions on what direction you're going with the project. These chapters are all very closely related about business entities. Chapter 16 is about small business organizations like sole proprietorships, partnerships. Chapter 17 is about your limited liability stuff. Think LLCs, LLPs, that kind of thing. Chapter 18 is corporations. So go through those chapters, learn about all the different entity types because your project is forming a small business here in Georgia. So I want you to read through all 3 chapters so you can find the best choice to create for a small business. I promise you, students will read the first chapter and they will decide that they want to do a sole proprietorship. Well, this is business law. It's an academic exercise. I want you to protect yourself. And as you will learn through your reading, a sole proprietorship doesn't give you any protection against personal liability. So that's a terrible choice for this project. But you see what I'm saying as far as like if you started with the first chapter and you made your decision for the project based on what you learned in the first chapter, you're missing many other great opportunities for this project in chapter 17 and chapter 18. So that's my advice. Start with those chapters, get done early on your project, and to sweeten the offer for you guys in my online class, I'm absolutely willing to look at drafts of your project. Your project's due March 9th. I know that sounds like it's forever away. I promise March will be here before you know it. It's January 10th. We go through those chapters, read over the instructions for the project and what's expected, and you can get a draft together of your project and you can send it to me and I'll give you feedback. And then you take that feedback, you improve your project, and you'll get a better grade than you would have if you just turned in what you originally sent me. it's not practical for me to be able to give feedback the week before the exams due, right? Because I have 3 different sections that I'm teaching. That's, potentially 150 different people sending me project drafts. It's just not feasible to read through all those. But if you get it to me early, I'm happy to look at it and give you feedback. How many professors are willing to preview a project before you turn it in to help you get a better grade? So please take me up on this offer and give me a draft of your project. Let me give you feedback so that you can do as well as possible in this class. Any questions about that? I know March is a ways away, but if you have any questions about the project, let me know. Or if you want to get an early start on it, because it's 20% of your grade, and the earlier you get it done, the quicker it's off your plate and done and taken care of. You don't have to think about it anymore. And then you have the other units. As far as your grades go in this class, it's in the syllabus, but I didn't really go through it in detail. Your grade is based on a total of 500 points. So each activity is, has a percentage grade. Like your homework percentage is out of 100 points. Your exams are out of 100 points, and then your project's out of 100 points. Your final average in this class is your top 5 activities. So I'm going to drop your lowest exam grade. That's what that means. So your project and your homework each count 20%, and then your top 3 exams. The reason I do that is so that when you have, the opportunity to take the first exam and maybe you didn't prepare as well as you should have, or maybe you thought you were prepared, but you didn't really understand what applying these concepts would really look like with hypothetical. I want to give you the opportunity to wipe the slate clean and start over. If you prepare really well, that's fabulous. And you do great on the first exam, continue what you're doing, do well on the second and third exam. If I'm dropping your lowest exam grade, that means you get to skip the 4th exam. And that means that you get to say, goodbye, Dr. Thomas. This law was fine, and I'm moving on to focus on my other finals. And you can lock in your grade. So your homework, you still have to make sure you do all the homework for all the units. But if you're happy with your grade after, the project, and you finish all your homework and the other 3 exams, come last week of class, you can just check it off the list and focus on everything else. So it's in your best interest to make sure that you're going through these chapters in detail, taking good notes, that kind of thing, studying well to prepare for these exams in the beginning so that you can skip the last one. The exams will be given here in Courston. When you click on the quizzes button, the exams will be there. Right now, the only thing you probably see is the orientation quiz. It's important that you complete that quiz. You have unlimited attempts. It's just a few questions. That is what I have designated to the administration that I use for attendance verification. At a certain point in the semester, everybody has to submit their attendance verification, whatever it is. And that's what I submit to this. And that's so that they can tell that people who've applied for financial aid are actually attending the classes before they release refunds. I think it's something that they use to cut back on financial aid fraud and that kind of thing. So again, it's not part of your grade or anything. That's why it has unlimited attempts, but it's important. It's just a quiz based on the syllabus and the course policies, but it's an important tool to make sure that you are actively participating in the class. That's pretty much everything I wanted to go through. Do you guys have any questions for me? You can either just unmute yourself or post it in the chat box. Any questions about anything? If you think of something afterwards, because sometimes that happens, like once you start going through stuff, you're like, oh, I wish I would have asked this thing. The important thing I wanted to make sure you guys all knew how to do is that, make the decision between the opt-out of day 1 access and Cengage Unlimited. The opt-out link is the very first module right here. When you click on day 1 access, that's an opt-out link. So if you do decide that you're going to do Cengage Unlimited because you're taking accounting or macro or whatever else you're taking, make sure you opt out of any other classes that also participate in Cengage Unlimited. Some do, some don't. So you'll just have to read your syllabus and look at the different classes. But I don't want anybody getting billed double. That's my point. Again, I really do care about you. It's not just lip service. I want you to save $1 wherever you can save $1. So that's why I just want to make sure that everybody's clear on that process. And if you're not, I'm happy to go over with you again, one-on-one on the Zoom call, or you can email me or whatever. Any questions? Okay, well, I hope you all have a great day, and like I said, don't hesitate to text me or email me if you have any questions. I hope we have an awesome semester. I hope you learn a lot of business law and